adding a smaller clown to the collection. Here's your look at the Eaglemoss. This is the HC Figurines It Chapter 2 Pennywise 1/16 scale figurine. Enter a world of horror with this 1/16 scale figurine, inspired by the iconic movie It Chapter 2, cast in a specially formulated metallic resin and painted by hand. The Eaglemoss collectibles are generally quite small in size. For those interested to pick this one up for themselves and want to know exactly how tall the It Chapter 2 Pennywise is, let me answer that right away by bringing in my ruler. I'm going to put right to the very top of Pennywise's head, and the figure seems to stand exactly 5 inches in height, or about 13 centimeters tall. You'd be really surprised how many comments I've gotten from you, the viewers, asking whether I would be looking at the Eaglemoss figurines, specifically the ones from the horror genre. Now, truth be told, it was something that was on my radar for a while, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to pull the trigger and start collecting yet another line of collectibles. Because you know it always happens. You get one, you get two, before you know it, you're down the rabbit hole and you're collecting all of them. And several things in my life have now started to fleet. The space to put these out, the time to, of course, look at these in individual videos, and, of course, the money that goes along with buying these. The Eaglemoss pieces are not cheap. And one of the things that goes along with being a premium figurine is the premium price point that goes along with it. I picked up this one, and I picked up a couple of other horror figurines from Eaglemoss that we will be looking at in upcoming videos. I'll provide the link down below to where I got these from Entertainment Earth's website, and the price point for these are $24.99. That may already set some of you back thinking $24.99 is about what the price point would be for like an action figure, something that comes along with accessories that has full posability. Yes, again, when you're going in and you start collecting Eaglemoss stuff, you sort of already know that you're going to be paying a lot more for these. The only other thing that was collecting from Eaglemoss was actually the Star Trek starships, something I really never look at here on this channel. If it is something that you guys certainly would like to see more of, I can certainly do it here on this channel, but not getting ahead of ourselves too much just yet. Let's start things off here with Pennywise. Now, he is, again, smaller, and I believe he's also hand-painted. So you kind of have to factor all of that in when you have a closer look at the figure. Speaking of getting a closer look at the figure, I can't simply just talk about it and you guys looking at it from a distance. Let's go ahead and pick it up right now. Now, Pennywise is standing on top of just a basic circular black display stand. There's really not a lot going on here at all. It's a fairly thick stand as well, and nowhere on the front of the display stand is actually etched in the character's name. This is something I really wish that the horror figurines could have actually had. Like in the cases of the Star Trek starships, though, they do in fact tell you the name of it, but it's on the bottom of the base, on top of this felted surface that they put there. You can see here it says It Chapter 2 Pennywise, along with the product code for this that goes along with it. It's fine that they actually put it here as a sticker, but I'd still love to see them do something here on the front so that you'd be able to identify the display stand and know a little bit more about the character and what movie he came from. Getting a closer look, though, at Pennywise's face, there's things about it I like. There's other things I think they could have easily improved upon. Starting first, at least with the positive points, I think the head sculpt and head shape are good on this. Like in the movie, he has quite a larger looking head, and I think they've replicated that well for the figurine. Where I feel there may be some stumbling point is the way that they've actually colored the figurine. If you look at his eyes, for example, and of course those horn shapes that go straight through his eyes that come out from the sides of his mouth, they've decided instead to paint them like a dark brown instead of what I would consider more to be like a red or a burgundy color. His eyes are looking up, which works well to the idea of looking at from the top. When you're looking at straight like this, it looks like he's actually looking at something that's above him. Coloring is pretty simple when it comes to the white on his face. I do like that they've added little cracks and stuff that would have been there from the movie. You can see, like, as the light hits it, all these nice little imperfections at the top of his face. So that's no issues real there. The coloring of his hair, though, is really where I have an issue with. I feel it's way too pale. I'm going to spin this around so you can see it from at least all the sides. The head sculpt is good, the hair is good, but I think the coloring of his hair is way too light. I would have made that much darker orange than what it is. As we look into the rest of the body, it's pretty much his familiar clown costume with the poofy shoulder pads and the collared frill collar, as well as the ruffled sleeves and down below on the bottoms cuffs of his legs. The coloring is pretty good. They've gone the route of more of like a darker gray coloring, and then they've added a much appreciated wash to it as well. It It really helps to fill out the details, especially the more ruffled looking sleeves and collar. If they had left it just the basic color alone, I don't think you'd get as much the contrasting colors. I think it works really quite well. I'm going to spin this again around so you can see it. Sculpting, I would definitely not dismiss on this. It has some really decent looking sculpting, especially when you see the back of it and the way that they've made like those accordion sleeves that he has in the movie. Smaller features that you would think would get missed by hand and paintbrush get nicely painted here on the cuffs of his sleeves, as well as down below on the bottoms of his legs as well. They've even gone the mile of actually painting his feet. Paint problems are actually few and far between. There are a few little areas, like little pom-poms on the tops of his boots that you can see has a bit of the black bleed that comes from his shoes. But other than that, I don't really have too many issues when it comes to his paint. I did notice there's a little bit of paint on the inside of his hand, and I can't tell whether it's actually paint that's been added or white paint that's been removed. As you can see, there's a line that goes straight through it. Now, the figure doesn't come included with a balloon or anything he can hold in his hand. He literally has a very much staction pose going for him. Seeing him from the side, he literally just standing there, standing straight looking at you, which I guess is effective. And on the other end of the argument, too, if they really had added a balloon, for example, in his hand, it would have certainly made for something that would have been a lot more fragile and more prone to breaking, which is probably one of the reasons why they decided instead to actually just sculpt the arms completely straight and parallel to the sides of his body. As a whole, it's not a bad-looking figure. Where I feel, again, it lacks the most in is when it comes to the paint. Here, it's not so bad, but I feel it really could have used a lot more colors when it comes to his face, and most importantly, I feel like the coloring of the hair isn't nearly dark enough. Not nearly the dark orange that I would certainly like to have seen on it. Head seems a bit oversized, but then again, going back and watching the film again, he does have a pretty large-looking head. You could, if anything, say maybe the head is way too big for the rest of his body, but overall, it's not a bad-looking figure. The question really becomes is whether it's worth the price point that these are being charged for. Starships are one thing. I don't mind paying the price point for like a USS Enterprise, for example, a movie Enterprise in a smaller scale at around that same price point. Horror figures and some of the other figurines that Eaglemoss have known to release in the past generally sit at around that $20 to $25 price point. They're higher end. They're higher end figurines, and along with it goes the idea that these are more weighted pieces that have gone in there and somebody has hand painted them. So you really, again, have to factor that in. These aren't being mass produced and done in plastic moldings. They're actually weighted pieces. It does say, like, whether it does ask the question, is it worth $24 or $24.99, which I picked this up over on Entertainment Earth's website. Some would say yes, some would say no. I think if you go in with the mindset of what you're going to be expected to pay for Eaglemoss stuff, if you know that you're going to be paying that $24, $25 price point for each of the figurines, then I don't think it's going to be too shocking of a price when you see these start showing up in online stores or comic book stores where a lot of these are being sold as well. A lot of times Eaglemoss also includes a book or magazine along with it. There wasn't any magazine or anything else that was included with Pennywise. You're literally just getting the figurine. It's a little bit more expensive, yes. It's nicely sculpted, sure. Paint could have been fixed in some of the aspects, like his head, for example. But I think for what it is, it's not a bad-looking Pennywise. Eaglemoss has also done a classic Tim Curry Pennywise, a Conjuring's Crooked Man, Annabelle, and a Nun. I haven't picked up yet the Pennywise, the Tim Curry Pennywise, but reviews of the Crooked Man, the Annabelle, and the Nun will be coming soon to this channel. So again, if you are one of those viewers that have been asking this whole time, I will be looking at Eaglemoss Horror Collectibles. I will. Again, not sure if I'm fully invested in the idea of getting all of the entire wave, which I guess right now only is, I think, the 5 figures mentioned already. Maybe they may release more. Whether I will be still invested in the idea of actually getting more of these figures, time will certainly tell. But I want to start things off, kind of give it a real honest opinion, whether it is something that's worth to pick up. And again, for you, if you are looking at the price point saying, well, $24.99, I can get an action figure for that $24.99. This is probably not the line that's then for you. This is line for people that like the smaller, more detailed miniature collectibles. No posability going for them at all, but you're basically getting a nice little collectible piece that sits well on your shelf. Speaking of the other Eaglemoss horror figurines, I don't know if you can actually see at the bottom of the packaging there, slightly blocked off as the Tim Curry Pennywise. It does have the acid burn on the side of his face. There's also the Crooked Man, the Annabelle, which actually the Annabelle is in a chair, which was interesting. And there's also the Nun Valak. We will be looking at those in some upcoming videos, but certainly let me know down below in the comments section if you have been collecting anything from Eaglemoss. What has it been that you guys have been collecting? I know some of you viewers out there have been collecting like the DC little miniatures that come in this size. Some of you have also been collecting the Eaglemoss starships. I have been really big into collecting the starships. I don't want to say big. I've only been collecting, I think I have like 6 or 7 of them right now. But that's something of what is being produced by Eaglemoss that I think I'm more invested in. Right now, I'm sort of kind of lukewarm to the idea of collecting more of the horror collectibles, even though I think I probably have picked up most of them already. That may possibly even change, but I really wish that like the figures, these weren't as expensive as they were, but I can certainly understand why they are the price point, factoring the materials that they're using for these figurines, factoring as well that they're hand painted. If you are, again, somebody that's looking for the price of, if you're looking at these like the scale that they are and thinking that they should be like a $5 or $6 figure, figurines like this aren't probably the kind of thing that you're going to be collecting in the first place. But if you are big fans of Eaglemoss, and then again, you like the subcategory now line of the horror stuff, again, they're decent little figurines that are good on a shelf. As I mentioned at the end of this video, again, we are going to be looking at a couple of other of these in upcoming videos. But let me know, weigh in your thoughts down below. Are you collecting anything from Eaglemoss? And if you are, what is it that you guys are currently collecting? I always like reading your comments. And if you are new to this channel, you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell notification. So yes, you're getting those friendly reminders whenever new videos are going to be popping up. But just a friendly 411 if you guys are interested to pick up this one as well as some other horror collectibles. Even though they actually say hero collector horror, which is strange to add hero with a horror. Anyways, if you guys are interested to pick this one up for yourself, I'll provide the link down below that will take you on over to Entertainment Earth's website and the price point for these Eaglemoss horror collectibles, horror figurines, $24.99. That's at least what the price point of what they're selling for right now. Again, if you guys are interested, let me know what you guys think of these down below in the comments section. Keep your peepers peeled to this channel because we are going to be looking at the Crooked Man, the Annabelle, and the Nun Valak in upcoming videos. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.